announcement has been paid for by the nWBro's podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Blade, Big Kev, and California. It's the nWBro's podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the nWBro's podcast here with the nWBro's for episode 11, The Fifth Man. I'm one of your hosts here, California, and I'm joined here by two esteemed co-hosts. First and foremost, the one and only Blade. What's going on, man?
Dude, I don't know if you're still planning to start with the story about Kev, but like it has been a very Australian couple of weeks for us down here. Blistering heat. We're in, suboptimal conditions recording this podcast for you guys. So, we're powering through.
Yep, 3/4 of a mile from the sun. If you crack an egg on the pavement, it bursts into flames. Speaking of bursting into flames, somebody burst into flames in anger this week. It's our other esteemed co-host here and victim of an attempted break into his household. It's Big Kev. What's happening, man?
Oh, man, so it's all been happening this week. And you're talking about Australian heat and being Australian. I actually chased this guy breaking into the house with a cricket bat. So that's very Australian.
That's the classic Australian. I caught some fucking douchebag trying to break into my house response right there. But did you end up finding your stolen AirPods or what was it? Earbuds?
Yeah, that's all he stole. But no, I didn't get him. He's got them now. There's probably heaps of earwax on them. So fucking enjoy yourself, mate.
Yeah, enjoy yourself, you fucking loser. Anyway, we're here. Episode 11, The Fifth Man. But before we get to it, we're getting to know the nWBro's once again. And Kev, I don't know if you've even had time to look at this question here. You've been so inundated. But this question is a favorite technical wrestler of all time. And I'm going to be starting with Big Kev.
Oh, shit. There we go. Technical wrestler.
Yeah.
Shit.
Should we go to Blade?
Hulk Hogan.
Fuck off.
Go to Blade. Go to Blade now.
Yeah, that's Jim Duggan's favorite technical wrestler, Blade.
I'm so mad at that answer. Look, I know people will probably would want to debate this with me, and it's a good thing that A, they're not here, and B, no one will probably comment. So, it is what it is. Look, I'm going to go my first favorite, not necessarily the person I think is the best technical wrestler, but got me into technical wrestling. Kurt Angle. I mean, the guy's a freaking Olympic gold medalist, hell of a technician in the ring, especially in the early days when he could go. He just had that ring knowledge, that ring awareness. Kurt. That's my answer.
Kurt all the way. Okay, Kev, have you come up with an answer?
Yeah, I got a couple here. Would you classify Shawn Michaels as a technical wrestler?
Yeah, I would.
So I'd say if we're going technical wrestling, probably Shawn. He's had some classic matches where he's got you in the palm of his hand. He's just the master of doing that. If not him, probably Eddie Guerrero. I enjoyed a lot of his matches too. That'd be my favorites.
Okay, well, my favorite would be, I'm quite disrespected by the answers here from Blade and Big Kev. My name's Bret the Hart, and I'm actually California's favorite technical wrestler because I am the excellence of execution. How's that for a
You
Bret
forgot
Hart
one thing.
impression?
You forgot one thing. You didn't complain about Goldberg giving you a concussion and ending your career.
Well, the disrespect that I felt from Blade and Big Kev, not as bad as Goldberg, Bill Goldberg, when he kicked me in the head like he was a horse. Okay, let's move forward, guys. The Fifth Man. I'm so excited for this episode. Literally been waiting for this episode since day dot, knowing that Blade's going into this, not knowing what in the fuck was going to be happening on this date at this time. The 51st episode of WCW Monday Nitro. from the UTC Arena in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're only covering this Nitro. I believe it's September 2nd or 3rd, whatever.
Yeah, second.
Second, thank you for the correction. I appreciate that. Can't believe it wasn't in my notes.
That was the title of the video you sent us, so it's on there.
Okay, there we go.
I also have another correction. I think it's the 53rd episode of Nitro because they talk about it being the new year in on commentary. So this is the first episode of year 2.
Well, from what I saw on Cage Match, it said it was Nitro number 51, Blade. So I'll have to look at that later and see who's right and who's wrong.
Well, what did Dave Meltzer say? That's the correct answer.
So look, we're at the UTC Arena here, Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was renamed the McKenzie Arena on February 21st, 2000, in honor of athletic supporters Toby and Brenda McKenzie of Cleveland, Tennessee. So Toby is his nickname. His real name's Steve Allen McKenzie, born June 11th, 1953. He was an American businessman, entrepreneur, philanthropist from Cleveland, Tennessee. That's not Ohio, that's Tennessee. He began his career by founding 2 rent-to-own businesses and later made his fortune after founding National Cash Advance, a payday lending company. He later began investing in businesses and real estate and lost all of his assets as a result of the Great Recession, and then he died in 2013.
Good. As soon as you said he founded a payday lending company, I was like, you can go fucked.
Well, his legend lives on there in Chattanooga at the McKenzie Arena, still there to this day. But let's get to the ratings, boys. A new record set here for WCW Monday Nitro, September 2nd, 96, unopposed for the second week in a row against Raw due to the U.S. Open, a 4.3, beating last week's 4.2. Yeah. Funny how the U.S. Open or Monday Night Football didn't seem to affect the rating, hey? Well, sports always seem to affect the ratings these days, don't they, Dave?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to the show here. February 2nd, 1996. How good is the intro to Nitro? The song, the fireworks. I love it. Tony and Larry recap Nitro from the previous week and the NWO attack from last week. And, of course, talking about Ted DiBiase showing up and mentioning that there's going to be a 5th man tonight. So, fuck. I don't know if you guys have anything to follow up on here with the commentators. Usually I ask you guys, but in the last few episodes, I feel like we haven't really had a lot to follow up on. So, Kev, Blade, anything here?
The only thing the only thing I noticed was Tony's hand gestures doing what Ted DiBiase was the other way around. I think it was like this. It would, DiBiase kind of did this. That's the only thing I noticed.
Fucking useless, Tony. Let's get to the first match, dudes. Diamond Dallas Page taking on Alex Wright. 3 minutes, 44 seconds. I'm starting with you, Blade.
Yeah, I actually thought they had really good chemistry. Real quick, solid action. Partway through, I was kind of like, in some ways, Alex Wright reminds me of a Cesaro sort of in the way that he wrestles a little bit, if not a little bit lankier and slightly more uncoordinated at this point. But I thought very good. DDP ends with a diamond cutter, and then he's calling out the Guerreros, so kind of building off that feud that we've seen in the bits and pieces that we've watched at the pay-per-views and other bits. I thought it was a good opener.
Very nice. Kev, anything to follow up here?
Yeah, that diamond cut is really getting over. Every time he hits that now, the crowd just explodes.
Yeah.
One thing I put in my note is Nick Patrick's counting style doesn't get enough credit. I know that's one thing I noticed about this match, because now the referee's just pounding the mat now, where he's got this kind of a bit of finesse, he does this, when he's counting it. It just, it was just a little small detail that I was thinking to myself, man, you don't see that anymore, the way he did that.
That's so funny because when you mention it, like I think back to referees. I think back to Mike Chioda, Earl Hebner. I think back to Randy Anderson, Nick Patrick. I can visualize and see their count and how they did
Yeah.
it. Now I couldn't tell you who from who and how they do it, but back then everyone had their own distinct count. That's such a nerdy thing that we've uncovered here. Uh, but yeah, I don't have much to add. It's just to follow up on Kev. Yeah, hitting that diamond cutter out of nowhere. The crowd are rising every time that it happens now, and I think it's pretty obvious that they're like, okay, it's at some point after this Chavo and Eddie feud, I think DDP is gonna have to become a babyface. Anyway, Gene is put out to work quick here with Nick Patrick. And I've written down, you know what? At this point, Nick should just fucking punch Gene. He should he should have had enough of this constant. He's on trial constantly with Gene Okerlund. Nick Patrick lays down the law here, which I thought was very good. Kev, anything to follow up?
Yeah, he's just sort of showing some anger now. He's getting pissed off by getting questioned. Before he was, trying to clear his name, but now I think he's just done. He's just, I've had enough.
Gene better keep, he better keep himself in a careful position here. Blade, anything?
I actually have a little bit of a small bone, if you will, to pick
Ooh.
with one Mean Gene Okerlund.
What?
Gene asks Nick
No.
if he's calling him a liar, and Nick says he is. Gene then says to close the interview, I think I just got called a liar. No, you did get called a liar, Gene. You literally asked the question.
That's your bone to pick with him.
Yeah, it is. It's just like he called you a liar. You are a liar. Like that. There's no misinterpretation if he called you a liar.
You are
He said
the
you were a liar.
You are the nitpick king of this show here, Blade. The nitpick king. The disappointment in your face with Gene. I can't believe Gene.
Well, this isn't the first nitpicking I'm going to be doing this episode, so strap yourselves in.
Episode 11's here, and Blade no longer likes WCW. Okay, I fucking laughed my ass off over this. I don't know if they went to commercial break or whatever, but Gene was already backstage, so clearly this is a pre-tape. And he's interviewing, I believe, Sherri and Colonel Robert Parker, who is such a ham. Blade, anything here?
Is he putting on that voice? Because he sounds like a Muppet. Like, I was just... I'm not going to try and do a voice again, because last time I choked and nearly died trying to impersonate Arn Anderson. But yeah, he sounds like a Muppet. I was also just like, until they got to the ring, I was like, why is this interview happening at all? Like, what the actual fuck is going on? I'm so confused. And then they cut to the ring where Harlem Heat. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, like taking on face value out of context, I was like, this is ridiculous. Yeah.
Okay. Colonel Robert Parker, hater in the house here. Kev.
Yeah, it wasn't much here. I'm a big Sherri fan, so just seeing her just lose it after Colonel Parker gave her some presents, it's just a funny little segment.
You know what? It's funny. Like, I think the impersonation gods think Blade is so shit at impressions. Every time he tries one, he starts to choke.
Man,
I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, for fuck's sake, I'm never doing another impression again.
I think your giant impression was the best one.
Oh, that was good.
Thank you.
That was
good. Your giant was good. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I think that is how Colonel Robert Parker talks. He might, embellish slightly, but it's kind of like how Sonny Ono already sounds Japanese, but he embellishes a bit more.
Is Colonel Parker is still alive?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And I don't know. This is an exclusive here on the nWBro's hotline, but from what I've read online, apparently Colonel Robert Parker has a massive dick.
Good on him.
Hog wild on August 10th.
Okay, let's move forward. As was mentioned, Harlem Heat. We're in the next matchup. that went 4 minutes 45 seconds against Greg Valentine and Buddy Valentino. How the fuck did Buddy Valentino get on TV? I mean, I'm sorry, Buddy. You're not going to see this.
I can see how he got into this match. Greg Valentine, Valentino. Let's put them together, brother.
Or Greg.
Man, get a match.
Or Greg. He got the Wish version of himself as his tag partner. Kev, what did you think of this one here?
I think this match was just designed to be a bit of a throwaway for Ted DiBiase coming to ringside. I think Booker T hit one of the sweetest kicks to the face, and then he did one of the softest side kicks that I've seen. It was slow at the end. It was bad. It didn't even touch him. And then, but yeah, that Harlem Hangover finisher is wicked. It's such a sick move.
That's
But yeah, as I said, just a match designed for I think Ted DiBiase to come down.
Yeah. Blade, what did you think of this one?
I think in the opening they're like, "Oh, we have this new referee," and then Larry Zbyszko makes me laugh by saying, "Has he been checked out by the FBI?" Like that's the level of background checks that they're doing in WCW as a fucking FBI. Just the exaggeration I love. Ted DiBiase comes out and eventually gets to his seat. Larry and Tony discuss the representatives of WCW and who they have at their disposal. When discussing Macho Man, it did make me wonder why he'd sort of stepped back from we've now got Lex and Sting teaming with, Arn and Flair. And it did sort of make me wonder, like, he was with them up until this point, and now he's kind of off doing his own thing. And it just seemed like a weird thing to almost remove him completely. And now he's like a bit isolated, but just a thought that came to mind. Harlem Hangover, really, really awesome. God, part of me is also like, it must be super dangerous. I'm sure at some point that calf has gone straight into someone's face and caused a lot of damage.
Like, what if, like, he's like, like the bottom of your ass, like that bone there, that would, if he overshot and that landed on your face, oh, dude, that would fucking crush your skull.
Yeah, like there's got to be a brutal one out there somewhere. It's not gonna go right at some point. And then they call out the Nasty Boys, which much to my chagrin, they call out the Nasty Boys and they're like, you want some, come get some. So it looks like they're setting up for that tag title match.
Yeah,
between Harlem Heat and the Nasty Boys.
Mm-hmm. So it's referee Mark Curtis who debuted. And he's there for most of WCW, but I believe he, like Randy Anderson, unfortunately passed away from cancer later on in WCW. But you'll find out later in the timeline here that he ends up being called the Shooter Mark Curtis because of a fan running into the ring and he choked him out. I was watching this and you're right, Kev, like designed for Ted to come out. And then all I'm thinking during this, Blaze listened to the commentators. He's got his thoughts on that. I'm wondering about Greg Valentine and how he's feeling. He was barely used to the WWF between, 92, 93-ish. He was only used on live events and in the Royal Rumbles, but now he's found himself in WCW. I did hang shit on Buddy Valentino here, but he hit a nice drop kick for his size. And to follow up on what you said, Blade, I think with Savage, right? This is what I think. I think that they knew that they needed to move Rick and Arn into this spot here to do the War Games thing. I think the War Games thing's got in the way, but I think they already kind of knew they want to headline Halloween Havoc with Hogan and Savage. So I think they kind of like shifted Savage to the side to have a few issues here with the, the Giant. Dungeon of Doom and the Giant.
Yep.
But now obviously things are going to escalate from there. But it is interesting that he's clearly was a prominent part and they've had to kind of push him to the side. But I guess because of the month where Fall Brawl lands, it kind of got in the way. But that's just me guessing. And it's okay to say that you're making a guess and not just saying that this is what you heard and then later on say, oh, plans changed. fuck you. Okay. The match ended. Did you guys notice that the bell was rung way too late?
No, I didn't actually.
No? Okay, we'll move forward then. But yes, okay. So Stevie and Booker are on the mic here being interviewed. Here come the nasties. They attack him. And I'm hoping, please, Gene, don't run off. I need you to ask them if they're going to join the NWO. They hit a spike pile driver as well, which I was, I like this. Blade, what did you think here?
Can anyone clarify for me, what did Stevie call them on the mic? He calls them fat something or others, and I'm like, I can't understand what he's saying.
Context. Blade is a tourist in WCW, so he is not aware just in who the fuck Stevie Ray really is. Stevie Ray is one half of Harlem Heat, with his brother Booker T. Stevie Ray always says some fucking crazy shit. Here, he called the Nasty Boys milk-drinking suckers. That's some whack shit. Later, as time wears on, Stevie ends up becoming straight-shooting Stevie Ray, with mad-as-fuck quotes like "suckers gots to know" and calling people a bunch of fruit booties. Speaking of that, I'm looking forward to seeing that scrumptious bit of Crumpet Deborah later on. I wouldn't mind having a ravenous bite out of that fruit booty. Sexy bitch.
It's like, it sounded like fat beer drinkers or something, and I was like,
can't remember.
And then he's like, we're going to end their careers if you know what I mean. No, Stevie, I don't know what you mean. Please elaborate. He doesn't do that.
That is nitpicking, Kev.
There's nothing much to note. I found it interesting. I stumbled upon on a previous episode of ours on YouTube that Blade was actually talking about the Nasty Boys in a positive light. He actually liked it, and then three episodes later, he absolutely was done with them. It's like, it's so good. I was like, wow, I don't remember it, but he actually did dig the Nasty Boys like 3 episodes ago, and now you're done with them.
That episode was taken down from YouTube. Sorry, mate. I do have another thing I wanted to add, which really blew my mind. The fact that they cut to commercial break halfway through the segment, like they were still attacking Booker T, or was it Stevie? After they'd given the spike pile driver, they pile out of the ring and go for I think it was Stevie. And then they're like, sorry, we have to go to commercial break. They come back and it's fucking done.
Yeah. Well,
that's all the action.
That's just what happens when on live television, Blade. You know, me and Kev. It feels like you're like the NWO. Me and Kev are here to defend WCW.
Well, WCW, frankly, needs to get their fucking act together. I would fire whoever was producing that shit.
Their whole livelihood out the door. Recruitment have to find another guy to work on when they go to commercial. Weeks of hiring. They have to go through. Someone else is now under pressure because they're going to do someone else's job until they find someone else. I reckon they should just keep the guy under contract, Blade. That's ridiculous. Okay, let's move forward. All right, here we go. This will cheer Blade up. Malenko, Blade's favorite WCW wrestler from this series. Taking on Chris Jericho in a match that goes 9 minutes, 1 second. I'm going to make Blade wait here because I'm going to go to Kev first.
This was your technical wrestling match of the night. We were talking about technical wrestlers. This is kind of your one. I guess your one for the night. I don't think there's another one. Jericho is really pandering to the fans here a lot. It's kind of funny to look at back now. This is another match we had Ted DiBiase now leaving his seat to sort of just, so it's not just a match. We're getting that kind of the other storyline involved in the match, which is cool. We don't see that anymore. I find Nick Patrick now is a bit more aggressive with the rules. He's pissed off now, and he's really laying down the law. We got Jericho picking up the win with that forward roll. But yeah, no, good match. These guys obviously got a bit of chemistry here, and I'm sure Blade was loving this.
Loving it. Sick. Blade.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great match. I totally agree with Kev's point about Jericho pandering. The like 80s like poppy sort of like Sammy Hagar Van Halen jump type entrance. And then he's like the literal definition of like, come on. And then he literally does the come on thing. And I'm just like, oh boy. Tenay on commentary discusses that Jericho and Malenko never met in Japan as they wrestled for different promotions while they were in the Orient. Definitely something that you could not say on today's TV.
Really? Why not?
You don't, because
what does Orient mean? Did you do research into the word Orient?
Well, the thing is, the context of Orient is like you're sort of discluding that all Asian cultures are different by categorizing them as one, right?
Okay,
like it's very dismissive.
Okay.
And so,
what about Maggi noodles? Maggi noodles is Oriental flavor still flavor anymore? Is it still there?
I mean, they changed the name of Coon Cheese, so like,
and Redskins,
maybe they did change
Chico's.
Maybe they did change the name of Oriental noodles.
Yeah, I gotta look that up. I'm interested to know.
Next time you're at Woolworths, like just in the section, send a photo to the group chat. We'll post it up on the nWBro's podcast page. No, we won't. That's ridiculous.
Confirmed.
Yeah. But yeah, another sort of slight trend of WCW saying off the cuff, off-colored stuff that you definitely wouldn't get away with in today's political climate. Malenko controls the majority of the match. I was so confused at this point, and obviously because you guys have seen this before, you have a better understanding. When DiBiase got up and left, I was like, what the actual fuck? Like, he came out, sat down, left. I was like, are you kidding me? Are they trolling their audience? Like, I wasn't upset, but I was a bit like, I didn't think about the fact that it may have led to something else. I was just like, this is very pointless. I'm curious to know if other people at the time were like, why? Nick Patrick lightly admonishing Malenko when he's got the head scissors locked in on the ropes. Malenko's like using it, and then he sees he shakes it, and he's like, and then he like, distracts him again, does it again. So funny, made me laugh. Malenko's springboard bulldog was cool, but a bit pointless. Jericho, when he did that springboard crossbody to the outside, almost missed his footing. I was like, fuck. Like, yeah, not great. It was cool seeing him use a German suplex and a spinning wheel kick. I love that. Like Jericho with some different offense from later in his career. And the fact that he won, that's a huge win for Jericho this early in his WCW career. So yeah, puts him on the map a little bit with a big win over D. Malenko.
This would have been the ideal debut match for Jericho, not the fucking double count out with Alex Wright. This is how you debut him. But anyway, the first thing I thought was, what annoying thing is Jericho going to do this week? And it was just be 1996 babyface Chris Jericho. I believe Ted DiBiase left because he had more business to tend to than watch 1996 babyface Chris Jericho. Thank you.
I thought it was because he just didn't like technical wrestling.
No, you know what? Like, you can come up with any theory you want, and this is what like AEW fans do. They always like come up with, oh, well, this because of this reason. Like maybe Ted was scouting the location because they're gonna be invading later. Maybe, that's I just made it up though. I just made that up.
He heard the new edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter came out and had to really read it.
And I love what he comes out. I love the constant thread that there's a threat. There's going to be a threat taking place here for WCW. Excuse me. And Larry Zbyszko did make me laugh, saying maybe Ted's got to go to the men's room. But yeah, big upset here. And it's interesting seeing the difference between Jericho now and fat grandma Jericho in AEW. He looks like a fat grandma now. I don't care. That's body shaming. No, it's just I'm just telling the truth. Okay, look at him. Brad Armstrong takes on the Giant in the next match up here. 3 minutes, 48 seconds. Blade, what's your favorite Brad Armstrong match?
Oh, probably this one. Yeah. Yeah, this is the first time I'd seen him, and he put in a strong showing. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was the things around this match that obviously made it probably a little bit more interesting. discussing Macho Man blaming Giant for NWO having control. And consequently, the Giant now is saying that he's on the warpath to get the title back. Brad Armstrong flails valiantly before copping a massive pie face from Giant. Commentary goes in to discuss the Macho Man's current mental health state, which seems to be a thing that they're sort of going through now. Larry says this is why Savage can't be the leader of WCW. He's not in control of himself. Schiavone says that he's been notified that a limousine has pulled up outside, and that usually means that the NWO has arrived. Fans went nuts when Giant picked up Armstrong in like the two-handed choke, like he was going to go for the choke slam.
Should have been the finish,
out of their seats.
Should have been the finish.
Yeah.
You should have turned it into the choke slam.
But after a brief glimmer of hope where Armstrong, gets a little bit of offense in, then Giant kills him with a massive choke slam to win the match.
He's fucking dead. Actually, he actually is dead. I didn't mean it that way, but the choke slam, he just was destroyed. Let's just say that. By the way, Blade, fun fact, Brad Armstrong is Road Dogg's brother.
Yeah.
Okay, you knew that.
I was aware.
Damn it. But I had you with that one. Kev.
Yeah, this is another match where there's other stuff going on during the match it's just so it's not just a cold match. It's this shit going on. I did like Tony Schiavone's on commentary mentioning that the Giant looks like he's preoccupied and not himself. So it's kind of like a little seed there for later on. Not anything I said was the choke slam is over. That's kind of similar to DDP with his diamond cutter, that when the choke slam, the crowd goes nuts. But I'm a fan of Brad Armstrong. I think he's really good. I'm not sure the hair's a little
lady
past at this point, but I know he cuts it off, and he has a little run there for a little while. But out of all the Armstrong brothers, except for Road Dogg, I thought he was the one with the most talent.
Yeah,
because I know later on the other two brothers tag, and I think one of them becomes a referee in WWE, right?
Yeah, that's Scott Armstrong.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, I think Brad's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, he does, and he's just got that Jim Crockett Promotions hairstyle still at this point in '96. But I like, the limo shows up in the middle of the match. And I know that maybe people start to get annoyed after. It's always about the NW. It's the most over thing on the show, nerd. But it shows up showing that shit doesn't just miraculously happen between matches. No, it's possible that things happen at any given fucking time. Other note that I wrote is that Jimmy Hart is just so annoying when he's jumping up and down celebrating after the Giant wins. And you know what? I wanted to ask you guys, thoughts on Jimmy Hart? Blade?
Nah.
You don't like him?
No.
Kev?
See, for me, like, because I sort of grew up watching wrestling in like the 80s when I was a kid, Jimmy Hart was just a character and he's always in the show. It's actually kind of funny that he was never, ever a member of the NWO or with Hogan, because I could definitely see him with the microphone with the NWO on that and being annoying. You know what I mean? Like, you could have had him as Virgil was in the NWO, so but Jimmy Hart's a character, And I popped when I seen him on the latest the debut on Netflix, and he was on it. I was like, fucking hell, look at him, he's still going,
His hair's still like in perfect
looks the same. He's I'm sure that guy's got some stories, eh?
Absolutely.
What he's seen over the years. Oh my god.
Kev, starting to feel like this has been a mistake having Blade on the show here with us, because I really wanted this to be an echo chamber, just me and you just talk about how great everything is. Here comes Blade, immediately just, it's all right, Blade.
It's the mid 90s at this point. He's frankly a little bit out of place. And so are it's not just him. It's others as well. Like, there's still that hangover, I think, from the very gimmicky stuff that they were doing, and they haven't fully transitioned away from that yet.
That is true. Okay, let's move forward, guys. The NWO announcement is next. I believe we already saw this one from the prior episode, right? It aired on Saturday night. It's Hogan saying like "World Cry Baby Wrestling" and all that. Do we need to cover it again? Did you notice anything different this time? Did you see or hear anything different this time, boys? Blade.
I do think it was a slightly modified version, because I think there was some stuff added to the end of it.
Okay.
The one note I did have is that Hogan says his friends brought him up to speed and he understands now. You have to take what you want and bond together for business reasons only. I don't know why he had to add that little bit at the end. Like, they're not friends, just business partners. It's strictly business. Again,
business, right?
it's just the semantics of the whole thing.
Okay.
Sorry, my camera shook there. I hit the desk a little bit.
So outraged.
Yeah, no. Just, yeah, it's... maybe it's the heat that's irritating me. You know, I'm just finding extra little things. I'm like... all my grievances are coming out.
Take everything that Blaze says with a grain of salt. It's fucking hot over here in Perth. Kev, do you have anything to add?
No, the only thing I've got to say is it feels like Hogan's getting there, but he still kind of reverts back sometimes, and he's not quite there. I still dig that anything less would be civilized. I like that line he keeps saying. I know he doesn't. I don't think it lasts for very long. I think he stopped saying it, but I think it's a really good line. I like the way he says it. It's very creepy and weird. I think it's really cool. But yeah, nothing much. The same stuff with Luger will be hung, Sting will be stung, all that stuff. That's got to go. But yeah, I just feel like Hogan's almost there. And he's not quite there yet.
He's just a ball hair away. Let's move forward. Eric, Mike Tenay, and Bobby Heenan for hour number 2. Mike Tenay gets a promotion. Nice. Knowing the 5th man will be showing up is ratings here. They're unopposed. Man, Vince must have been fucking pissed, you know, like having to give up 2 weeks to the U.S. Open. But again, Eric tries to once again kind of nudge us toward thinking that Ted's going to be with the Horsemen. It's just, they've never had any interaction whatsoever prior to this, you know, because Ted's been in the WWF since fucking God knows. But Kev, anything to add here?
No, nothing much at all. Yeah,
that's fine. Blade?
No, I like that Tenay's been promoted to the main commentary team. You know, he sort of adds that nerdy credibility, which, you know, I'm all about. It's kind of like how I add nerdy credibility to this podcast, you know?
You see, the difference with you and Tenay, the difference with you guys is that the nerdiness that you bring isn't annoying. But Excalibur, don't even get me started. Fucking take the mask off. Next matchup, Big Ron Studd with the sick theme song takes on Macho Man really savage 2 minutes 44 seconds. Obviously this is Savage is getting a tune-up match here because he's taking on the Giant, so now he's facing big guys, right? And before I throw it to you guys, for those playing at home, Ron Studd was in fact, actually, it's true what Mike Tenay said. He was trained by Big John Studd, and he actually tagged with Big John Studd as the Giants of Wrestling. And also for those playing at home, Ron Studd was the Yeti, and he eventually was Reese in Raven's Flock. Gotcha there, Kev. Good. Oh,
yeah.
Anyway, so I'm throwing it to Kev. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm glad you filled me in that Ron Studd is actually John Studd's sort of protege, because sometimes with WCW they come up with that bullshit.
Yeah.
Same with the Giant. In the beginning, they said Giant was Andre the Giant's son or some bullshit like that. So it's good to know that's true. With this match, I think Macho is really great in these scenarios where he takes most of the beating for the match, especially a bigger sort of guy, and then makes the comeback. So we saw the NWO during this match as well. I think they're coming out the limo. So once again, it's another match where it's not just the match. There's more shit going on. I think the selling of Macho Man should be studied nowadays. Just his facials, the way he struggles when he's getting beat
Yeah.
down, and it's just a master of that. And that's just a lost art. Yeah, just yeah, he looks like he's went through a war at the end of the match. He's holding his even when he's pinned him, the match is over. He's still holding his back. He's wincing in pain. That shit is just
You
it's
don't
just
see it.
masterful, and you don't see it anymore. When I was watching it, I was just going, man, like that. It's just he's still the match is over. A lot of guys nowadays just the match is over and they're like, yeah, I've won, blah blah.
Oh,
He's still in character. He's still selling. Yeah, masterful, beautiful.
that's so true. Like when you're watching him wrestle and watching him go through what he's going through, you're going through it with him because you can just see it through. And it's funny how much agony he's going through for something that only lasted 2 minutes and 44 seconds. But Blade.
Yeah, I mean, it felt, I guess, reasonably throwaway, and that it half of it was taken up by the NWO coming out, and we get to see that they're here at the building. Um, you seemed like you were right on the money about the tune-up stuff as well, because from here, I remember later on in the show they talk about the fact that Macho Man is going to be facing John Tenta and someone else beforehand. So he's going through like a run of big guys clearly at the moment.
Yeah.
To sort of prepare him for the Giant.
Yeah,
that's actually another point you said there, Blade. They don't do that anymore either. When you've got someone who's facing, just say like a guy at the Giant in the pay-per-view, they back here they would sort of do a string of matches against bigger guys. That's another lost thing, and you don't see that anymore.
Yeah, I remember once. I think Luger was facing. Oh, I think he was facing the Giant on pay-per-view, and so like he's wrestling Roadblock, he's wrestling 911, who was in ECW. Yeah, he had like a string of 4 or 5 weeks straight where he's just facing like massive dudes and torture racking them. Anyway, I did like that when the NWO exited the limo, Hogan screamed at the cameraman to piss off. So that was a nice little touch. Gene is with Savage afterwards. I don't know why I didn't write anything here other than Savage's voice is perfect. Blade, anything to follow up?
Yeah, it's I think the one part Savage whips out this killer line partway through the promo. Because they're talking about how he's unhinged at the moment, and Gene, says you're living on the edge, and Savage goes, if you're not out here living on the edge, then you're taking up too much room. I thought that was great. I was like, fuck yeah, that's sick. Popped me big time. He promises victories against Giant and Hogan, and then Gene asks him if he should contact a bookie in Vegas.
That was my favorite part.
Gene definitely has a bookie. Like, I can very clearly picture that. Yeah, it was a solid promo, and that line, like, cherry on top of the ice cream.
Yeah, very good. Kev.
Yeah, there's nothing much else to say with what Blade said, but yeah, I just love how Gene was more interested. So you're guaranteeing victory? Like he was more, and you can see in his head, he's thinking about, oh, I'm going to make a bet on this match. Yeah, okay, cool. Always, yeah, but it was, yeah. But it's really, I find it's hard to make notes with Macho's promos because they're just so good. And he's just such a great character. And he's always got great lines and sort of, so he's always, his promos are always excellent. You never see him flunder his words or anything. He's just always solid.
Yeah. Agreed. Let's move forward to what I think was probably my second favorite thing that happened on the show here. Lex and Sting take on the Steiner brothers in a 38-second match. So before I throw it to the guys, I'll let everyone know what happened. Nick Patrick was the referee. And he was literally like grazed by Lex Luger after Rick Steiner had shoved him, and Nick Patrick called for a disqualification. I'll get to my notes after I throw it to the guys here. Kev, what did you think?
Yeah, this is funny. It's just comical. Nick Patrick's facials really sell this really well. Man, we got the Luger and Sting's pissed, the Steiners are pissed, and Nick Patrick's face, he just gets hell out of the ring, you know. And they're like, they seem like following him backstage, and yeah, it's cool. It's a funny segment, you know. It's different.
This is so good, man. Like, honestly, like at the beginning, Gene was my MVP, but at the moment, Nick Patrick's really winning it for me. Blade, what did you think?
Yeah, you could like I legitimately believe that all four of the competitors were pissed. You know, even when Nick Patrick goes to raise the Steiner's arms and they both just like shove him off.
What did he think was gonna happen?
Yeah, like they're super angry. I did chuckle quite a bit when the four horsemen are like running out to the limousine because Flair's in front of the camera and it looks like he's jogging in his underwear because he's got his wrestling trunks on. So they run, they open the door, there's nobody in there. So then they come back into the building. But yeah, 38 seconds, goddamn. I was like, this is gonna be when they came out, I was like, this will be an interesting match. Like, these are some big names. I'm ready for this. And then 38 seconds, it fucking didn't get to see shit.
Well, you know, it's actually interesting to note that I just kind of looked through my notes then. The only match that didn't get interrupted with something happening with the NWO was DDP and Alex Wright. There was something in every match. Maybe it's a little bit of overkill, but no, it's all right. Like, we're early days and we're really focusing on this angle. You know, Ted showed up.
Jericho and Dean didn't get interrupted, did it?
Jericho and Dean had
oh yeah, they had DiBiase in the crowd. Yeah,
he left the
gotcha.
But yeah, like Ted showed up during the tag match, then left during Malenko and Jericho. Then the limo shows up during Brad and the Giant. The NWO exit during Stud and Savage, and now during this one, the Horsemen have run to the limo. But okay, like what I found the most funniest here is like, how was Nick Patrick allowed to be the referee of this after what he's done?
Yeah.
He screwed the Steiners out of the tag titles over a bullshit DQ. He screwed Lex and Sting with the fucking chop block at Hogwild Brother on August the 10th. And they put him in this match with the two teams. Like, who's making these decisions? Like, yeah, that's the right decision there. It's just fucking ridiculous, and I love it. But the Grays, it was nothing. Like, Lex didn't even notice that he touched him. That's how little of a graze it was. And the fact that Nick immediately pointed to get the guy to ring the bell, like, to me, that was just like perfect timing. Like one little and then that's it.
Yeah, acting like he's been shot.
Yeah. Oh my god. Anyway, so I believe I'm kind of surprised here, but I believe we're at the main event of the evening here. Is that right? We must have got a commercial break after this. The main event.
Dungeon Doom.
That's right. Yeah. So it's Kevin Sullivan, Big Bubba, Meng and Barbarian taking on Mongo, Flair, Arn, and Benoit. 13 minutes, 54 seconds. So this is the match where we find out who the next guy is. But oh my god, man, I just realized what happened to this. Guys, fucking hell. I'm going to just lay it out there first before we get to anything that happens afterward, okay? The beginning of the match, right? I'm even ignoring like me going on about how good looking all the ladies looked, especially Deborah, okay? But what the fuck happened with Mongo at the beginning of the match? Yeah, I yelled out, what are you doing, bro? First he falls over and at the beginning with Kevin Sullivan, then he bumps a phantom clothesline that never actually, Sullivan didn't do anything and Mongo bumped. Then he loses his balance on the top rope, and then he went for like a stomp on Sullivan, and it looks terrible. And I'm like, how is an NFL legend so uncoordinated? What did you guys think when you saw all this shit going on? Blade?
I mean, it was the first thing I wrote down. I was just like, oh my god. It's like a giraffe on ice. And we know we've said it before, but it's fucking like, I know why they have him in the Four Horsemen. I get it, right? It's the name recognition. He's like, across, he's cross sports name, blah, blah, blah. Sure.
He says baby at the end of the sentence.
It just tarnishes their credibility a little bit in my eyes. Like, you've got
I get it.
three incredible wrestlers, like, Benoit, Flair, and Arn are all, and then you've got fucking Monko.
And his nickname has to be Mongo as well, doesn't it? Like, for Christ's
Holy
sake.
shit.
Oh God, Kev, like I could see you crying over this as you're watching it, Kev.
My first note is Mongo climbing the top rope. What the fuck? That was my note. But in Mongo's defense, I'd still rather see someone like him who's, when he's cutting a promo and he's talking, he's still entertaining, and he's still he still makes me laugh, and I enjoy him, rather than someone who's a great wrestler but got absolutely zero character whatsoever. I'd much prefer someone like him rather than that. That's just me.
You're right, bro. Like, he's very entertaining, but he's absolutely dreadful. He's dreadful. Yeah. I can imagine fucking Flair, Arn, and Benoit on the standing on the ring apron being like, for Jesus fucking Christ. Like,
you would think being around those guys that they would rub off on you and you'd get really good really quickly, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
I reckon it wouldn't matter how much time you put into it, he would never get better. Like, and we've got so much more time. Like, he leaves WCW in '99, so we've got 3 years of Mongo to talk about. I can't wait.
I like it. Sweet. I'll enjoy it.
Okay, well, like, we get to this match. I don't know why I've written like fucking 40 notes on this match. I don't know.
So have I.
Yeah, it was a huge thing. Like,
because there was like a commercial break during it as well, right? Like, it went through a couple of segments, but we had a lot of shit going on here, so I think we should do little bit by little bit here. So, okay, Big Bubba came in and kind of settled Mongo down a little bit. But then we see the police are backstage. Nick Patrick is backpedaling and runs to the limo, but runs into a different direction. Then you see Ted get into the limo. Sting throws a brick through the window, and then they steal a police car. How serious did this just get? Kev, I'm throwing to you.
Yeah, it's another match where there's so much stuff. Like, I'm reading my notes here. There's just a shitload of things that happen. We don't have the match. We've got the interference from Woman. We've got this altercation backstage. There's just so much shit going on. This whole show's like this. Yeah, and it's very enjoyable. It's very enjoyable, and it's easy to. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah,
and the matches you said it was 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like it, it felt quite quick. But yeah, it's just we're seeing a lot of backstage stuff now, and it with the matches. There's a lot of moving parts, but it never seems too much to me. It still seems very gripping.
Yes, it's
very gripping.
You're getting dopamine hits. Like, you're constantly like, fuck, what else is going on? What else is going to happen? I can see people who are in their, like, young males, teenagers, guys in their early 20s in college and shit. Like, the constant fucking drama taking place here. This was the male soap opera that everyone used to talk about, I can see people just getting fucking excited. What the fuck's going to happen next? Like, this is what I got into wrestling for things like this. It's not about the fucking 13-minute match. I don't give a fuck about the match. I care about what's going on in WCW, the story. Blade, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the match overall, as a thing, it definitely, like, more of a vehicle for the story being told. I found the match as it went on actually got a lot sloppier. Like, there was a few botches, not just Mongo, but like there was sort of a solid chunk in the middle of like pretty decent stuff. And then as they sort of began to wrap it up, I noticed that there were a couple more botches where I was just like, there's a really awkward like knee breaker thing where Kevin Sullivan's not in the right position for Rick and they have to like do a switch and it takes,
Yeah.
a bit longer. And then, Meng and Barbarian go for that double top rope headbutt. And like Meng's one, I'm like, there was no chance you were ever going to hit him. Like ever. So he just jumps out into the middle of the ring and eats shit for like no fucking reason. So yeah, it was a little bit strange in that sense, but like, it was it was good. Sorry, I just saw a note that I wrote. Brain and referencing the bathroom brawl in the match between Benoit and Sullivan, and people of all genders being in there to watch. When WCW goes to the can, we deliver the cans. You stay classy, Brain.
You know what I've noticed? We haven't quoted anything from Heenan in a couple episodes here. But he's still doing a great job. But I think maybe a match like this is 8 people. They're all of different sizes, shapes, and
proficiency.
Yeah. So I guess it's always going to be a bit messy, but I kind of like it messy sometimes like that. So Woman helps the Horsemen win here.
Yeah, Benoit doesn't seem to like it too much.
Well, he can calm the fuck down, all right, because they won.
Yeah, he seemed to not.
He was yelling at her, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing. Once again, as I said a few episodes ago, she's still fucking affecting so much, and she is like being one of the main reasons that they're seeing a constant stream of success and victories.
And she gave it back to him too. Like she just gave back. Basically told him, like, look, fucking won.
You're so hot.
Calm down.
Yeah. Okay, right, here comes the moment, and I'm definitely throwing to Blade for this because I know that you had never seen this before, and I mean I've seen the moment several times. Here come the Outsiders. I laugh because immediately Bobby Heenan has bailed, and he's not putting his life on the line. And Tenay, if you know what's good for you, you follow me. But Tenay sticks at it with Eric. Thank God for the Giant. The Giant is out here after the NWO is killing everyone. And Tenay actually says, thank God for the Giant. Giant gets in the ring. I'm laughing at Eric and how he's reacting. Whoa, 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 whoa. The Giant! The Giant! No! No! As he's grabbed Barbarian by the throat, choke slams him, grabs Meng by the throat. No! And Meng cops a wicked choke slam. Barbarian went up like a sack of shit. After that, obviously, Savage comes in. He gets overwhelmed. We'll get to the next part after we find out what the nWBro's thought of the Giant joining the NWO. Blade, take it away.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I knew he joined the NWO at some point. I didn't know it was this early, which was very, very cool. So yeah, I mean, you've gone through most of the stuff up until I guess the sort of heading towards the endish. The boys take over the commentary booth again. Hogan alludes to more members coming than just 5, 6, 7, and 8 are on their way. Giant discusses receiving a call from Ted DiBiase to discuss business and visiting Hogan's home filled with Harleys and Mercedes. He has 20 Harleys in his garage, 5 Mercedes. Hogan rips the WCW sign off the desks and then asks them all to spit on it. Actually, I was a little bit annoyed that he interrupted Giant while he was talking to be like, spit on this, brother. I'm like,
I was annoyed too.
It's like, he's cutting a promo. Shut the fuck up. They then interrupted. The Horsemen and Dungeon of Doom come back for more, apparently, because they're not done. And so they start again. Giant fell off the stage, I think, when he was getting up to leave. Like, there's a segment where he's like stepping down, and then it sort of like, and then falls down, and he like is on his kind of knees and gets back up.
Maybe he didn't realize how high it was off the ground.
Yeah. they get rid of them all and go back to the promo. Giant's still talking about Hulk's house, and Hogan interrupts him again, saying he can have it all. And then he got Giant a role in Arnie's new movie. They are then unable to time a quote between the two of them, which was a bit awkward. Giant and Hogan then push the table off the stage, and Giant almost slips again. The segment, so my overall thoughts were, the segment is very wild and chaotic, and I enjoyed it. I assume that there are arguments out there where people would say that this was overcooked, and I can understand why they would think that. There are elements of this that I think, did they need to do the second wave of attacks and all that sort of stuff? Probably not.
I don't think that was necessary. I didn't even remember that until I watched it. I was I didn't realize that they fucking went after him again.
So I think, could they have cleaned it up and made it tighter? Yeah, absolutely. Hogan interrupting Giant also did piss me off a little bit as well, because I'm like, well, this guy's just defected. Let him have his limelight, let him do his thing. Hogan's always front and center focus, give Giant that platform just for this segment. But that wasn't to be the case. But yeah, holy shit. There was just so much stuff going on that was wild. And I was like, this definitely reminded me of things I enjoyed when I first started watching wrestling as well. So yeah, I thought it was a fucking crazy ass way to end the show. There's just shit everywhere, desk overturned, stuff on the floor, people laid out, around ringside and on the ramp. This is kind of what the NWO came in with and started to do, but now they're doing that on a bigger scale. There's more people involved. They're expanding their business.
It's getting more hectic. But I want to know, when the Giant came out to make the save, did you think he was coming out to make the save and he might get beat down, or were you surprised when you saw him grab the Barbarian by the throat?
I think I was literally a bit 50-50, because when I think about, in hindsight, the way that we've seen Giant interact, or actually not interact, with the Dungeon of Doom, as that he hasn't been present in their promos, a lot of the stuff that they're doing. Maybe you could even say that they've kind of laid a little bit of a breadcrumb trail for this to happen.
I think they planted some crumbs along the way, dude.
Yeah. So I would say really 50-50. I don't think I was fully surprised, but it was still oh, holy shit, that's cool. So I still got enjoyment out of it.
Very good. Because, I think about it, right? And I think to myself, the Dungeon didn't fucking help him when he was dead at Hog Wild, just laying there. No one even came out to see if he was okay.
On August 10th, brother.
Yeah, and he hasn't really been interacting with him all that much. So I feel like they've been planting seeds, and I think that this was always going to be the plan. And that's why Ted's involved, because Ted's forked out the money. Anyway, Kev, I want to know your thoughts, taking you all the way back to the point when the Giant comes out and joins the NWO.
Yeah, watching this back again, I think I missed initially years ago that the role that Ted DiBiase plays. He's the financial guy. He's he's not there to wrestle any matches. He's the financial guy. Back thinking about it now, I always thought that he was there for a cup of coffee and he was gone.
Right.
But now I realize that he's the negotiator. He's the guy, doing that liaison with the talent to get him in the NWO.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool to watch that back again and go, oh, I can get that a bit more now with Ted, with him with the briefcase and the previous episodes and stuff. So that was kind of cool for me. Okay, I get that a bit more now. But yeah, in my notes, I've just got, what a way to end the show. It just living on that note where you just, once again, you have to tune in next week to see what's going on, or it's just this whole show, every match, there's so much going on, and it's just wrestling is not written that way anymore for that, it's changed now where people's attention spans are even shorter, but it feels like almost like it's written nowadays the opposite way, where it's like nothing's happening. Whereas here it's just constantly like there's plenty to talk about,
Yeah,
I think, I think that's, and I don't want to harp on it about it too long, but just to add to your point, I think the presentation, and AEW also does this as well, or have attempted to do it, is that they've moved it more from the theatrical, like dramatic presentation of wrestling, and they've tried to make it like a sport, and it's not what I want from wrestling. I don't watch wrestling to watch sport. If I wanted to watch sport, I'd go and watch sport.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not going to go into full depth and detail because it's not relevant to this podcast, but I thought that's the closest they've done is when they were doing the stuff with Cody, Roman, and Rock leading up to WrestleMania. In all honesty, that I felt was the closest they've got to that sort of dramatic theatrical presentation.
Yeah.
The Rock whipping him with the belt and all that stuff. It was fantastic, and they even fucked that. So it's just frustrating. The whole dynamic of wrestling's changed, and we don't get like that sort of high stake chaotic drama anymore. I miss it.
No. With a hint of reality, a hint of like realism to it. That's what's missing. We're seeing the roster and the NWO and the referees and all that. It's reacting to this angle. The referees, Nick Patrick's a normal referee. Why wouldn't he take the money? He's making this modest wage, and then you're getting increased by what, 5 times, 10 times what he's going to get. Of course, someone in that role is going to do that. So we're getting this hints of realism in this storyline, and that's why it's working. It's not hard to see why. It's just how would it play out really? Obviously we get a bit. Sometimes it's in that borderline where it gets a little cheesy at times, but majority of the time it's getting into that realism and getting to a bit more like gritty sort of stuff, and that I really enjoy that.
Yes, I agree. And what I like most about all of this is like when the ante's being upped by the NWO, like it was the prior week. Now the Giants join them. They enter the scene, and what was left? It was just they completely fucked the company up. They completely fucked up the show. They've destroyed the commentary table. Everyone's got spray paint on their fucking back. Savage is having to be carried out again. Heat. The hot air balloon is getting bigger and bigger. I have a feeling, and again, I'm guessing that the baby faces here probably like we need to get some heat back, man. Like, we're just getting our asses kicked week after week. Maybe that's why that they had to have that thing at the end there, but I didn't agree with it whatsoever. I thought should have just ended with Giant explaining why he joined. Maybe Giant needed to be a bit more quicker with what he was saying, but it was his moment. Maybe he'll explain better next week.
I can't remember which commentator said it, but I think it was the image when it had Nash and Giant in the ring together as the NWO. It's like I think it was Heenan. He was like, "Oh, we're WCW's screwed now." Like, basically, I can't remember the words he used, but he was kind of like, "We're done. Like, we're done now." Like,
it might have been Eric because Bobby had run off.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they hugged, that's a moment right there. Like, what are we gonna do? Or maybe Bobby said it later on. I don't know, because we've got some other things here to talk about. But that's an NWO beatdown. You got the yellow streak up Savage's back. I did find it funny when Hogan went to grab that other spray paint can, the yellow one, from his pants, and he's just got his hand right down his fucking own pant and pulling it out. And I'm like, this is a bit of a weird camera shot. Like, he's digging real deep for that hog wild. So anyway, it was pandemonium, and the commentary position was destroyed. Now we move forward to WCW Main Event. Again, the music is a little dated. But Gene is with us here, guys. He hypes War Games. And Randy Savage gets a sit-down interview. So I'm going to start with you, Kev. What did you think here? Because I thought Randy was quite good here.
Yeah, he was he was really good. Macho again going on about if you're a betting man, I'm gonna do it, and then the Gene's perking his ears up again. Oh, oh yeah, you think I should put a bet on? Yeah. There's a bunch of lines here. I can't remember all of them, but with Macho, he says he's 2 cans short of a 6-pack. They're talking about Savage's sort of mental state at the moment. I think it was a playoff with Gene where he said, he said you're the head cashew. He says, if I'm a jar of nuts, yeah, I am the head cashew. Something like that. What was that? There's another line. There's another line he said. I can't fucking remember what it was.
Is it about waking up early?
Yeah, you'd say I do wake up early because the secret is I don't go to bed.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, there's a bunch of lines from Savage here. It's just, I like how Savage could get beat down, the yellow streak down his back, all that stuff. It still doesn't seem to kill his spirit or his bravado. He's still intense. Never, it doesn't matter what the NW do to him. He's just always the same, But yeah, I think he was really entertaining here.
He's great, bro. Blade, anything?
I think besides what Kev mentioned, I think another part I enjoyed was when they're talking about Gene asks Savage if he knows what the yellow stripe down his back means. Savage says he does, but he wants Gene to explain it for everyone. And then Gene eventually says, well, it means you're a coward. And I was like, it's great. They interact really well. And I thought, even though he was still very spirited, this was almost like a more like conversationally, like interviewee type Macho Man rather than him doing his usual stuff. Yeah. There's still a bit of it there, but it was just seeing him in a bit of a different light, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I like he finally got Gene to say that's what it means, coward, and he's like, well, you can say that, we're friends, you're not in the danger zone, Gene. Whatever it was, he said he's not in the danger zone.
Do you know we were mentioning before that with Luger and Sting? I think it was last week we mentioned this, that they were kind of starting to seem a little bit uncool. I don't think that's not coming across to me with Savage. He still seems he's untouchable for some reason. He just doesn't seem, even with his clothing still kind of flamboyant and 80s looking, his character is still very likable, and I don't think he's getting that same sort of stigma that sort of Luger and Sting's got, where they're kind of starting to become a little whiny and uncool. I think we were mentioning that last week.
Well, I think your point's even compounded by Gene, because he says during the part of the interview that almost like up until this point, Macho Man has kind of been like an NWO-ish type guy, right? Like he's had suspensions, he's had like multiple fines that, Gene references making his, right hand pocket a bit lighter. Like Macho Man's kind of been on that fringe and is now being supplanted by these other guys who have gone the whole way. They don't give a shit about authority or breaking the rules or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I think that's maybe what makes Macho Man so compelling, despite his presentation maybe being a little bit dated or whatever, which funnily enough, I don't think, because I think for him it's iconic and sort of transcends the time periods. But I think that's maybe what makes him distinct from Sting and Luger in that sense.
Very nice. Let's continue on here with WCW Main Event. Gene with the hotline report. The lead story, former WCW superstar is seriously injured in an out-of-the-ring altercation. Also talk about the talent pool of the NWO, and he spoke to Hogan about 7, 8, and 9, and he's not going to tell you shit. Do you have anything to mention there, guys? I mean...
No, all good.
Cool. We kind of pop for the hotline, though, every week.
Yeah, the hotline's awesome.
Speaking of popping, like Heenan after Gene's talked about the hotline. Heenan's a bit, shitty with Gene. Like, you know so much. What's the weather going to be like this weekend? Just the attitude, the general attitude on Bobby here in the next bit. Blade, I'm gonna throw to you.
It did make me laugh, and he's like, "Oh, so you know who the new members are going to be? Like, tell me, who are they?" And he's like, "Well, you have to pay me $1.49."
It's $1.49 a minute.
Yeah, it's like, it's just good, we always talk about how Gene's untouchable, so it's kind of nice in a way to see someone call Gene out on his bullshit. And be like,
Yeah.
fuck you, Gene. Like, it was funny. I liked it.
Kev, anything?
Nah, nothing here. Yeah, just more great stuff from these guys.
Very nice. I also liked, Bobby was having a bit of a rant about the Giant joining the NWO. And, he said, it's all about greed. There's nothing wrong with greed because, Heenan's a fucking heel. But I did laugh at the end, I don't know if he's doing this shit on purpose, but, the show ends, it kind of the set kind of darkens as Gene and Bobby are sitting there, and Bobby starts looking around the studio. I'm like, don't tell me he's worried about the NWO in the studio as well. Like every fucking time.
He's kind of the same as Savage in a sense where he's constantly working his character. It doesn't matter if the show's gone off the air, he's on point and he's always working the what he's doing. So yeah, I think it's just the same. It's just that old school mentality.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And look, I know that we had a little bit more here to go through. WCW Pro was a little surprise Easter egg for you too, and also the September 7th WCW Saturday Night. But I think I might push that to the next episode for episode 12, because we've covered quite a lot here for episode 11 here for the fifth man. And here's the thing. The reason why I'm ending it there is because we've got some other stuff to tend to here. We've got to find out, guys. We've got to find out what Dave Meltzer had to say.
That's right, it's time to find out what did Dave Meltzer say.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'd have to give that 5 stars. Rumor has it that Mabel is going to be the third guy. Okay, and this is really important. I wanted to get to this now, and we could get to the stuff at the next episode. It's fine. But here we go.
Do we have to find out what Dave Meltzer said?
We do, because we have to end this. It's been such a great night with you two, but we have to end it on a bad note. Okay. WCW attempted to take Davey Boy Smith from WWF with plans to reveal him as the newest member of the NWO at Fall Brawl, but at the last minute, the plan fell through. Notice how he says that? Attempted to take, like, against his will. Like, he's not with a contract with the WWF at the time, so how are they taking him? They're signing him. It's stuff like that that gets me annoyed. Anyway, as a result, WCW has turned the Giant into the newest NWO member. So, okay. Dave also thinks it makes WCW's wrestlers look like total pussies, since week after week, 3 NWO guys routinely beat up half the WCW locker room, particularly the Horsemen, who look like jobbers now. Oh, man. It's all being booked by Hogan, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Not Kevin Sullivan. Even though he's mentioned a few weeks ago Sullivan was going to lose the job as head booker for one bad rating. But now Hogan's booking all of it, apparently. There's some resentment among those who feel Hogan is simply booking for his own ego and attempting to bury Flair, Anderson, Benoit, etc. Wait till I get to my turn to...
Okay, Carl, can you just remind me of what the rating for this show was?
It was 4.3.
Their
record rating. Yeah.
Mm.
As for Giant turning, it was a last-minute panic move and completely throws future plans into chaos. Since Giant was booked to face Kevin Nash at Halloween Havoc, that had not been announced, and in matches against NW members at house shows, among other things. Also, funny note, at the end of Nitro, when Giant joined the NWO, they all went up to the announcers area and destroyed the set. Turns out they weren't supposed to do that, and the set is expensive, so some people were a little upset about that.
That's great.
Okay. Look, I'm going to let you guys go first before I fucking have a bit of something to say here. Kev.
Man, where do I start with this one? Generally, like, we Dave sort of guessing his way through it. This whole thing just seems like just a personal opinion of his. It seems like he doesn't like what's going on. But generally, when he doesn't like something or he doesn't agree with it, it's generally when it's working and it's doing really well, as you can see with the rating.
Yeah.
So his own agenda again is being exposed here because who gives it the set? That's all you've got. The people were angry about the set. Oh, we're really angry. Oh, we got a record rating. Oh, but fuck, that set's all destroyed now. Oh, what? Who gives a crap?
And all
The
this
ratings
stuff.
going through the roof.
Yeah, and all this stuff that, like, it's all just everything's at the last minute. They don't know what they're doing. Like, what?
Come on.
Fuck,
Dude, it's
man.
funny. It's funny that there was. I don't recall him mentioning Giant being a member, not once in the last 10 episodes. Do you?
No,
Not once.
nothing.
He didn't. I think he's upset that he was fooled.
That he didn't know.
He didn't see it coming. He didn't see it coming.
And that's why it's a last minute thing because
Yeah.
it had to have been because he didn't know. Fuck you, Blade. Take it away.
I think, yeah. You make the point about, he was booked to wrestle Kevin Nash at Halloween Havoc. Well, nobody
Never
knows that.
announced.
Not announced on TV. Who did you hear that from? Who's your source on the inside that told you that? Whatever. He wrestled NWO members on house shows. Well, of course he did. Because if he didn't, then they'd fucking bury the lead completely, and we'd all know that Giant was supposed to be one of the threats against the NWO. So he wrestles the members of the NWO, thus making the reveal that much more surprising. It's almost like Dave hasn't watched a movie or an episode of television before, or read a book, or just consumed anything that sort of, builds narrative suspension to a point of climax. But anyway, it's hard to believe that they wouldn't have known about the desk destruction either. I don't believe that, because they've clearly planned all this other stuff where NWO has destroyed things or vandalized things. This was just another thing that they did, and it worked. It was super shocking, popped the ratings, all of those sort of things. I really hate how always, and I think, Kev makes a really great point, is that things he seemingly doesn't like are always like, well, they rushed this, or they had to pivot to that, or there's always an excuse to sort of bolster his opinion. But it's all like smoke and mirrors, because it's, well, very clearly the NWO is the hottest angle on WCW right now. There is no way that they wouldn't have planned out, a roadmap as to who the members were that were coming in. Yes, okay, maybe if some talent became available, they may have grabbed them and signed them on a contract and put them in, not taken them. But like, I would think with the talent they've got, they would have built a plan out. They wouldn't have just been like, oh shit, we couldn't get Davey Boy, so let's fucking put in the Giant. There's absolutely no way. Not a fucking chance.
Dude, yeah, keep going, sorry.
No, it's okay. So like, that's my final point, because I really want to cede the floor to watch you unleash on Meltzer. But yeah, I find perhaps this is maybe one of the more like annoyingly egregious things that he said, where I'm like, no, I flat out do not believe any of those things that you've said. A lot of it is speculation that you've clearly tried to present as fact. Actually, I'm starting to get mad now, so I'm going to pass on, because it's your time. It's your time now.
Man, it's just okay. Like, they're not going to bank on someone who's not under contract. It's not the plan for Davey Boy Smith to be the newest member at Fall Brawl, and he keeps going on about Fall Brawl being when the fourth man showed up. Ted's the fourth man from last fucking week. This week's the fifth guy. Okay? The newest member was not going to be Davey Boy Smith. I don't think that they're going to bank on it. Right? But that's what he's been going on about. He's been going on about that the next member was going to debut at Fall Brawl. Well, we've had 2 new members before Fall Brawl, and we still got like another fucking couple of weeks to go before we get there. The plan fell through. No, there was no plan. It's just Davey ended up getting a sweet deal with Vince and got promised a main event run. Nothing fell through. It's just like they tried. Maybe they tried. I mean, I don't even know if it's true. But as a result, WCW has turned the Giant into the newest NWO member. What are they panicking for? Why would they panic for? They're not banking on Davey Boy suddenly being available if they haven't got him under contract to debut on this show to be the newest member. But he keeps mentioning Fall Brawl. So why have we got Ted last week saying that next week's the 5th guy is when they're going to show up, and it's not Fall Brawl?
Here he is a couple of weeks ago getting really upset with the NWO angle, not highlighting any new stars, or it's just relying on previous stars. Here we got Giant. I think he's only 24 at this point. You're highlighting him in this role, and he's still not happy.
It's just, I don't know, like the way he's written all of this, it's like he wants everyone out there to not like this. See, whoever is reading his the Observer, he wants them to think that shit behind the scenes is really fucking bad and this isn't going well and the ratings are through the roof though. Okay, I'll get through all of this in a second, but like again, someone wrote notes on the Observer here. So like the guy was written that Dave thinks that this has made the WCW wrestlers look like total pussies because they keep getting beaten up by 3 NWO guys. And that doesn't fucking mention the fact that, I don't know, they may be attacking the Horsemen after they've had a fucking match. They're fucking sneak attacking people after they've had a long match. Maybe that's why. Like 3 people have been able to fucking beat them up. Maybe they could keep the whole company at bay because, I don't know, they had baseball bats and they're sneak attacking people backstage. Like, you can't fucking leave the most important fucking details out of it in your fucking newsletter, dickhead. Okay? Like, it's... And now he's putting bullshit in there. There's resentment because Hogan's apparently... Hogan's not booking this! You already mentioned Sullivan a few fucking months ago about how he was booking... Hogan's not booking it. Okay? He's still figuring out what the fuck to do as a heel. Why would he be booking this? Why would the Horsemen be pissed off? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, can I interject with one thing as well, I think, to supplement this argument, is that Eric Bischoff, say all you want about him, is he also a very shrewd character, right? Very smart businessman. I reckon... so Dave talks about that Fall Brawl was a destination where the 4th member was going to be unveiled, blah, blah, blah. And that didn't come to fruition. We got Ted and then we got Giant, both on Nitro. Those coincide, and we talked about this earlier, with the U.S. Open, right? So they would have known, and they would have known at some point that WWF was not airing. They wanted to pop their ratings, and they did it. And it was a fucking smart decision. It was planned. It was. There was no last second pivoting. There was no fumbling to figure it out. It was all pre-planned and done in a very, very smart way because they were going up against zero competition. They utilized the airtime that they had to make those debuts early. Now you're going to want to see what develops at the pay-per-view because now we know that there are more members coming. It's smart and it makes sense when you look at it through that lens. Sorry.
That's okay, but no, you're right.
Yeah, great point.
We mentioned the fucking breadcrumbs that are being left, right? At what point since Hog Wild Brother on August the 10th has the Giant fucking done anything to fucking go against the NWO? At what point has he stepped in the fucking same room as them? He hasn't. The fact that he hasn't is already telling us that they knew from that point, August 10th to now, September 2nd, they knew at that point Giant was going to be joining the NWO here. So it's not a last minute panic move and completely throws future plans into chaos. What chaos?
Yeah,
future plans into chaos.
4.3. That's chaos.
It's real chaos that he's not wrestling Nash at Halloween Havoc in a match.
Oh, no.
A match that hasn't been announced yet. And it's real chaos that he's not wrestling NWO members at house shows, which are, I'm pretty sure if I look at Cage Match, they're not working fucking live events. I bet you anything at this stage anyway. But it's not total chaos that Giant's not, oh, now he's not wrestling Scott Hall at a house show in fucking Ohio or Little Rock, Arkansas. Right? So, and yeah, okay. And I just don't believe that anyone was upset about them destroying the set. Like that Ted Turner owns them, cunt. Damn, I said the C word. As for Davey Boy Smith, the plan was for him to walk out on Nitro on the 1-year anniversary episode as a surprise, like Luger did. So didn't he say that? Okay, the first paragraph said that Davey Boy Smith was supposed to be revealed as the newest member of the NWO at Fall Brawl. Okay, maybe he just showed up. Maybe he just shows up on the Nitro, doesn't join. Okay, I'll let that one slide. But I won't let this slide. The next bit, okay? And this is the last piece that I'm going to read here for what Dave Meltzer had to say. WCW is still trying to bring in several ex-WWF stars expected to become NWO members. Remember that. But legal issues are holding them up. So again, Kevin Sullivan, Eric Bischoff, they're all banking on people being able to get signed that are still under contract or there's legal. Yeah, they're banking on that. Fuck you, liar. Sean Waltman is still in a state of flux and hasn't got a full release from the WWF yet. Jeff Jarrett's contract expires next month and he'll be in then. WCW has expressed interest in Bam Bam Bigelow, whose WWF contract expires in the next few weeks, even though they haven't used him in a year. The Bam are in the NWO. Interesting. Blade, what do you think of this?
I mean, how long have we been talking about Sean Waltman coming?
Yeah.
And it's always like some little like, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And it's like, well, no, it's probably just.
That's right. Waltman showed up at Hog Wild ready to work, even though he knew he didn't have his release yet. Get fucked. He's not stupid. Keep going, Blake.
Yeah, he brought his gear with him just in case he could get on the show.
Like he's back to WWF now. He's back there again.
Yeah, well that's it. Again, there's no way sort of flogging a dead horse at this point, but there's no way that they're building out their plans on people that they don't know that they have. If these people come, awesome, and I'm sure that they build out a separate storyline when and if they become available, but they would be working with the people on their roster and planning that out. It'd be monumentally stupid to be doing it the other way around.
Kev, it's just so dumb.
Oh man, what can I say?
It does make me laugh. I'll be honest. It's so infuriating. It does make me laugh.
I think the only one I think the only one I believe that I think they were actively trying to get was probably Bret Hart. That makes sense. But all the other ones are, Sean Waltman's such an obvious one. He's obviously going to say that. But yeah, it's so funny. 2 weeks ago, he's saying he was at Hog Wild on August the 10th, brother, and now he's not there anymore. He's back to WWF. That's comical.
Okay, he hasn't got a full release yet.
He's not got a full release. He turned up at the pay-per-view, but now he's not got a full release. I'll just wait now.
Fucking hell! And for him
ludicrous.
And I'm sorry, but look, I don't think Davey Boy Smith would have suited the NWO at all.
No.
And when you're fucking NWO, you're NWO for life. It was fucking Owen. Davey Boy is not in the NWO, okay? I don't see that happening. And when he came to WCW eventually, he never fucking joined. So, fucking Jarrett, bro. Come on. It's ridiculous. Okay. Well, there we pretty much have it. I did have one more thing that I wanted to let you guys know about. It's kind of boring though, but maybe it's cool to end it on a boring note. The WWF was having issues with America Online, the internet service. AOL had a WWF section and a separate wrestling section unaffiliated with the WWF called Grandstand, where wrestling fans post to discuss news, more often wrong than correct, said Dave.
Oh, just like him.
Yeah.
You know something about that?
WWF has an exclusive contract with AOL and have complained about negative comments being made about WWF in the Grandstand section of AOL. Since it has a contract, WWF believes their section should be the only wrestling section on AOL, since it's the one that they can moderate. The complaints have led to several negative WWF posts being removed from the Grandstand section of AOL. Wrestling fans have taken this as WWF infringing on their freedom of speech, and the bad publicity has started to spiral out of control. Finally, Vince McMahon instructed the online department to do whatever it took to make the problem go away, because WWF was looking like the bad guy. In the end, WWF and AOL issued a joint statement apologizing for having the posts removed. And then the guy who was doing the recap here wrote in brackets, the early internet was weird. Kev, what do you think of this?
There's no way Vince McMahon's got anything to do with that. There's no way.
He's got so much more shit to worry about than some bad posts on a fucking AOL channel.
I think he's, once again, it must be a hard week for Dave. He's just scrambling to come up with some sort of story and
it's a weekly newsletter. He's got to fucking think of something.
Yeah, he's coming up with this is really, really inside stuff, you know.
Fucking hell. Blade.
We know Dave Meltzer's in this forum. He's got a different alias. He's typing in, he's doing his little thing. Yeah, we know this.
He's on the AOL chat making the negative comments.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they had the Giant join at the last minute, because that Dave Meltzer said that it was a last minute decision. I mean, my God. Blade.
Could you imagine like some marketing assistant going to Vince and like telling him that some nerds online complained about WWF in a forum, and then they wanted to delete it, and like you could just imagine like that conversation happening. Vince fucking like backhands whoever it is.
I don't give a fuck about that.
Like it's ludicrous. It was handled by somebody in marketing, probably like, I don't know, at the level of like Mick Foley's son Dewey when he joined the marketing team.
No one's bothering Vince about this shit.
No, they don't give a shit. But I do like that they had to apologize for deleting people's opinions, because like you're sort of trying to control the narrative of like, oh well, only good things can be talked about when it relates to our product. No, it can't. People can say whatever they want about your product. If it's shit, it's shit. Like accept the criticism. Perhaps that might actually make you improve into a better product. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, Tony. Well, there we have it, boys.
You just had to go in for the last minute cheap shot.
Fuck him. All right, boys. Well, there we have it.
He'll reply online. He'll reply online to the fucking shit. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's the other extreme.
Yeah, come at me, you Nepo baby. Right. Boys, we're done here with episode 11 of the nWBro's podcast, and chuffed to say we have 101 subscribers on YouTube. That's fucking sick. Kev, any final thoughts, things to say, and where everyone can find you?
I think this episode was possibly the best one we've watched as far as an episodic show. I think it was very enjoyable to watch. The whole show was interesting. They had a lot going on. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, maybe this is the new direction that all the shows have, where it's just chaos, and week to week we're like, wow, that was awesome. So yeah, I'm hoping for that. But yeah, you can catch me on Facebook, Kevin Curran Music. I'm on Instagram as well, Kevin Curran Music. And if you want to check out my band, that'll be Hail Mary Band on everything except for Facebook, which is Hail Mary Band page. And on X, I'm Kevin Curran. I'm Hail Mary Kev. There we go. That's me done.
Yeah, all the links will be in the description, everyone. Blade, anything to say?
I mean, I just want to say, I guess, a thank you to all the 101 people that have subscribed to our channel. You know, I think there's always a little spark of joy whenever I check the channel and I'm like, oh, overnight it's gone up by like 1 or 2 people. You know, it doesn't matter how many it is, but, you know, it's always nice to know that there's people watching. Our latest round of videos seem to have done really well, which is awesome. And I kind of like that we're creating, you know, all jokes aside about Dave Meltzer and how we feel about him, as that we've seemed to attract people from both sides of the fence. You know, we've had people defend Meltzer on our videos before, and we've had people that have criticized him as well. You know, I'd like to think that we can create some sort of like fair discourse. You know, we put all this on, you know, for show. Yes, we don't like him, but like, you know, the conversation always is civilized. And you know, there was even that one Rogue episode where we all agreed pretty much with most of what he said, which was wild. But, you know, like it's, you know, continue to please comment and just give us your opinions and what you think, and tell us if we're wrong, tell us if we're right. Like it's, you know, it all really helps.
Yeah, I don't mind if you disagree with us. It's okay to be wrong. Anyway, you can find me on X or Twitter at California NWA. I don't really use it that often though, but maybe I would if I got a bit more engagement on there. But before we sail off to the sunset, usually at the I've noticed I've been showing off some WCW merchandise at the end of most of our episodes. So I wanted to show off this one. It's like a little, I don't know if it's a hacky sack. It's filled with beans, and I think actually if you hit it, it makes like pain noises. But it's a little Hollywood Hogan bean head. I don't know what the fuck is. I got it for $5 on eBay. Well, let me tell you something, brother. Well, yeah, I wanted to show you that off. This is stupid, but I'll tell you what. This isn't stupid. You know, I'm in my mid to late 30s. Well, see, that just means I'm in my late 30s. But I still call someone out there my best friend, and that's Big Kev, right? And my best friend on Christmas got me a gift, Blade.
Oh,
that's
really nice that Kev got you a gift.
Yeah. No, I was forced to get him a gift because he told me he bought me something. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, now I'm going to buy another gift. I was like, holy shit.
Anyway, Kev found 6 figurine.
Hey.
And nice. I was really surprised that the WWE actually cared enough about WCW to make a figurine of 6. So again, Big Kev, I want to thank you for that.
Well, good, bro. It filled the quota. Like I knew the gift was there. I knew I could get in there, buy it, and get the fuck out of Kmart in 2 seconds. It was great.
Excellent, bro. Well, thank both of you.
And I knew you'd like it.
I do. I love it. And it's never coming out of the packaging. It's always going to be
good,
looked after. But anyway, guys, thank you both for joining me here for episode 11, The Fifth Man.
The better man.
And thank all of you out there for joining us here for the nWBro's podcast. Episode 11, The Fifth Man, California, Big Kev, Blade. We'll see you down the road. Thank you.